Skincare has never been this advanced, yet I've never seen skin that's more reactive. I do personal consultations with clients all the time, and the number one concern now versus maybe 10 years ago is sensitivity rather than wrinkles and firmness. Most women now are dealing with chronic redness, hyperpigmentation that won't go away, acne in their 40s and 50s, disrupted barrier, and products that stop working pretty quickly. I do this for a living and I have been for 30 years now, and I can tell you, the more you do with your skin, the more you poke and probe, the more reactive it becomes. You're not taking years away. In fact, you're aging it much faster and you're causing a lot of sensitivity. So in this video, I'm going to list my least favorite trends in 2025 that truly caused a lot of damage for many of my clients. As always, I'm going to strip away all the marketing and all the fluff and get down to the bottom of things. If you're new here, hello and welcome. My name is Nadia Ben-Shakroun, your guide to better skin naturally through the functional beauty lens. What does that mean? Getting your very best skin through lifestyle, diet, supplements, and clean skincare that's not going to disrupt your barrier or introduce all these toxins for your body to metabolize, because your skincare absorbs into your bloodstream. So let's keep it clean. For 3 decades, I've studied formulations, read lots of studies, created education curriculums for many brands. You name it, I've done it in the beauty industry. I also watched trends rise and disappear and followed journeys of thousands of women. What I've learned is one thing. Your skin is not a canvas, like they say. Your skin is an organ. It responds to what you put in your mouth. So there is what's called the gut-skin axis. The biggest impact on your skin is not all those stem cell injections. It's not exosomes. It's not microneedling, none of that. A lot of people that rave about this, it's one of 2 conditions. Number one, they're being paid. I get offers every day from dozens of brands to promote their products. I don't, I refuse, because I'm keeping this unbiased. And the second condition is that they do see results, but they are short-term results. Remember, your face is going to be yours for the rest of your life. So we don't want to go after short-term results at the expense of long-term health. And that's essentially what the beauty doctrine and functional beauty are about. I really hope that you join me in closing the chapter on all of the overpriced, overhyped trends of 2025, and we can start 2026 on a good path for your very best skin. Trend number 1, facial wipes. They keep coming back. I don't know why they're not banned. They should be banned. I wish I could just wave a magic wand and have every facial wipe on the planet disappear. Why? First of all, they're so bad for the environment. Secondly, they're awful for your skin. Remember, they are cleansing wipes, so they have surfactants. So imagine rubbing a gel cleanser on your skin and never taking it off. Many of them are filled with fragrance, harsh preservatives. I can go on, but I'll mention the worst one when it comes to facial wipes, and that is you're rubbing and you're pushing all that debris, all that makeup and gunk deeper into your pore. So get rid of them. I got worked up there. I'll get a little bit more pleasant with the next one, and that is lip plumpers. Let's think about it for just a minute. How could a topical product with an applicator actually plump our lips? Not possible. Lip plumpers should actually be renamed lip inflamers. I don't know if that's a word. Lip irritants. Because that's truly what they are. You're getting that swelling because your lips are irritated. They often add capsaicin, which is what's in like hot peppers. And so that's why they burn and sting and tingle, and that's why you get that swelling. We don't need to go that far just for the look of a fuller lip. You can always use makeup to give the illusion of a fuller lip. There are plenty of good makeup tutorials out there. Eventually, those lip plumpers leave you with extra dry lips and chronic inflammation. Inflammation isn't volume. Speaking of inflammation, collagen does not thrive in inflammation, and so that leads me to DIY microneedling. The idea behind microneedling is that you cause injury, your body tries to repair, hence it's going to make new collagen, it's going to repair it, all great. It's not that simple. Microneedling, yes, in principle it does that, but does it do it perfectly? No, because imagine that you have a scar. When you have a cut, your body creates a lot of collagen to close up that scar, because skin is made up of collagen, so you got to close it up, and that's collagen. Often that becomes a raised scar. If I have a cut, it heals with raised scarring, and that means I make too much collagen, and that's not necessarily a good thing. So what comes with that is unevenness eventually. Even though the injuries that you're creating are microscopic, you still have that accumulation of scars over time. And that collagen production is temporary because you make collagen, you're breaking it down every day. And so might as well master how to produce that collagen long term. And there are many, many videos of mine that talk about that. And it's really basic. It's through diet. It's consuming your collagen, your protein, all the precursors like your vitamin C, your minerals. There are so many ways that you can continue to make and regenerate new collagen without having to harm your skin to do so. Next trend that I cannot wait for to go away is slugging with Vaseline and all these occlusives. You don't need all that slugging with petrol, with petrolatum. What you're doing is trapping bacteria, heat, sweat onto the surface of the skin, and also delivering toxins like benzene, which is a carcinogen. Remember, anything that comes from petrol is petrolatum, petroleum jelly, and so on, may have traces of benzene, which is not healthy for you. We have an abundance of really good skincare products out there. Oils, you can put olive oil from your kitchen on your face, and that's better than using Vaseline. So when you see that glassy, shiny skin on social media, when influencers are being paid, many of them, to promote Vaseline and such, that is just a short-term illusion. That is the illusion of moisture rather than moisture itself. You need to invest in ingredients that penetrate into the skin, hydrate it, and moisturize it from the inside rather than just form that plasticky layer that once you wash off, you really haven't done anything for your skin. Speaking of occlusives and moisturizers, I get a lot of pushback about this one, but I'm very firm in my thinking, and that is beef tallow. Human biology and cow fat are not compatible. So much of the hype that you see out there, all these influencers, again, that are pushing brands either because they were gifted or they're being paid and so on, are referring to the instant gratification. They've applied that product and it feels good on the skin, but it's still animal fat. There is still potential for it to have bacteria. And if it doesn't have bacteria, it means it was cooked in a lot of salt. That salt can be sensitizing for your skin. There is no win here. Just because it's natural, it doesn't mean that it's safe for your skin. So let's please leave beef tallow for cooking and not for facial skincare use. The next one is overhyped by so many dermatologists and plastic surgeons. Keep in mind, you guys, when they open their offices, they're paying hundreds of thousands of dollars for all this equipment they need to put it to use, and that is their trade. They go to medical school to learn how to perform these procedures, all the injections and all these procedures. They're not going to tell you not to get it because they're not going to drive themselves out of business. Not to say all dermatologists will direct you towards that or all dermatologists are bad. We need them to treat skin diseases, but a lot of these treatments that are being sold are sold to you at your own risk. You sign a little document saying that whatever result, they're not responsible for. The treatment that I'm talking about is RF microneedling. So earlier I spoke about at-home microneedling using a roller. Now, RF microneedling is when they use heated needles that are puncturing your skin to generate collagen. Again, the same idea, creating injury to cause repair. Yes, you're gonna get some collagen built up in the skin, but very often at the cost of the fat layer. Fat melts with heat. So while you're building potentially some collagen, you're melting off the fat, which is supportive of your facial structure. We need to think of the face as all of the structures that support the skin, the bone, the fascia, the muscle, the fat, all of that. We need to preserve all of them, not just collagen. And heat in any form is detrimental to your facial fat. Next trend is stem cell skincare. You cannot have stem cells in skincare and have them penetrate into the skin. It's common sense, and yet millions are being sold. Stem cells cannot survive storage, manufacturing process, and cannot penetrate topically through a moisturizer. And this one is pretty big. It made it huge this year, and that is PDRN, salmon sperm, in skincare. Same thing as stem cells, they're not going to absorb, and even if they do, they're not going to help boost collagen. The most that salmon DNA does for the skin, if injected, is reduce inflammation. It's not going to restructure the skin, it's not going to tone or lift it or help you produce collagen. And the last one, I've been a broken record about it. It is daily exfoliation. You see it in toners, in cleansers, in masks, even in serums. No one needs an alpha hydroxy acid on their skin on a daily basis, period. Over exfoliation does not equal renewal of the skin or improvement. Biology disagrees. We can only make so much dead skin. You have to wait for that natural cycle to happen. Some people speed it up with retinoids. So retinoids help you increase cell turnover, but that's also highly inflammatory. Retinoids are not safe in the high concentrations that most people are being advised to use, and can cause so many interactions with medications, with other skincare products, sensitivity when you're out in the sun. If you choose to use a retinoid, try to use a gentle over-the-counter and not overdo it. Not a fan of prescription retinoids. That last one was not necessarily a trend. It's been here for a long time, but I had to squeeze it in. Can't help it. Did I miss any trend? Let me know if I did. I'll post my commentary on whatever trend you let me know in the comments. If you want my thoughts on more products, you'll find them on the beautydoctrinreviews.com, where I am vetting one product in the beauty industry at a time. If you go on there and you don't find your product, just fill in a quick form that will come up and I'll vet it for you. I am now on Substack. I'm so excited about that. I just published my first article last week. I feel like it's a forum where I can actually go a little bit more personal, talk about my journey, all the tea from my experience in the beauty industry. If that's something that's appealing to you, make sure to subscribe. And then of course you have all the resources on the beautydoctrine.com. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. I wish you a happy new year, happy holidays. Until the next video, be well, be safe, be beautiful, take care.